Hello, my name is Kennedy Tali, and I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Yeah. So
Welcome.
we talked a little bit before we started filming, but so you're originally from California, but I get a sense that you have some kind of cultural or heritage connection with Alaska as well, right?
Yeah, well,
Like a family
yeah,
connection.
I already had family up there. My grandfather's sister, on my mom's side, was already up there. My grandfather was up there, and my mom wanted, or my mom or my parents decided for us to make that transition out to Alaska, and it was on August 27th of 1999, and I believe it was, and here's the thing, flight 541. Just remember that number. That flight. It was flight
That'll come
41
up.
on
Okay.
August 27th, 1999. We left to and relocated to Alaska.
Okay. And Anchorage, I'm guessing, right? The main
Yes,
main city?
yes.
How's the life out there? Because I know there's a lot of issues with substance abuse, alcoholism, with the Native American community, especially in Alaska as well. Just from our experience, working in the field of addiction.
So is that your background? Is
So my background
Yeah.
is Samoan.
Samoan?
But
Okay.
I was born in Santa Ana.
Oh, okay.
Orange
All right.
County. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I got you.
So I have a Polynesian background.
Right.
But like I said, what took me to Anchorage, Alaska was my grandfather was already up there. He was already getting up in age. My mom wanted us to move up there. Plus, change of scenery, because things were whatever was going on at that time. All I know is I wasn't doing very well for myself because I was already doing things that my
Okay.
parents didn't even know about.
So you would say your battle with alcohol and drugs
How'd that-
started before.
Oh yeah.
Moving
It started at a very young age. But to go even further before that, at a very young age, about the age of 8, I was sexually molested by a family member who happened to be my uncle, and that I didn't know, but that would change the trajectory of my life for years to come. I mean, I'm talking about years. And at that time, I didn't understand, like, because to me, it happened when I was playing outside. I was playing basketball, and I went up to dunk the ball. And when I dunked the ball, I slipped, and I went to break my fall. And what happened was my arm got caught, and I hyperextended my elbow.
Oh.
And at that time, my uncle Ron was there, and he was trying to, like,
Can't his name be something else? Just for this. No, I'm just kidding.
and
His name is wrong too. though.
Oh yeah! Oh no!
No.
Hey man, Ron's a good name, and I love my uncle Ron.
Everything,
I love my Uncle Ron.
everything happens for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, and he was massaging and whatnot. At that time, my parents were actually getting in an argument, and all I can remember was while I was hurting, I was trying to go back into the room and all I can remember was my dad walking out with a bag of clothes and just leaving. And I didn't know that would actually be, I didn't understand at that time that would my first experience with abandonment. Cause I thought, like, to me, like, he was going to, cause man, it was hurting so bad where I was yelling and screaming. And I thought, like, my dad, like, left because I was yelling and screaming now. And as a child, like, I didn't understand that, but that's when my uncle was there at that time. And it started off with let me massage your hand, let me massage your arm, I'll make you feel better. And it started off from there. And, I didn't understand that it wasn't right because as a child, all I knew is it made me feel good. And I felt like I was protected,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But something happened. He had left, and at that time, I didn't know that the feelings in my body were like, oh my God, well, what is this feeling? So to, like, deal with that, like I would like go out and see what the other kids are doing, and then like I would hang around with my friends, and they were like smoking marijuana. And at that time, like I said, my mom and my parents were going through their things, so they weren't even noticing what we were doing.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, like because I found my like people out in the
Right.
streets, and I was like, okay.
And this
So-
is like, how old were you around?
Oh, I was like 8, 9 years old, and at
Wow.
9 years old, a
God,
year
that
later,
seems so young.
yeah, at 9 years old, I was already. That's when I first started smoking weed, because that's what the neighborhood kids were doing, and my parents, like I said, back then, my parents, it was either church, work, and then come home and then do their thing,
Right.
and for us, it was like church, school, and then us, and then go out, because our parents were doing their thing, and that's where.
Right. Now, you had younger sisters at the time, or not yet?
Oh yeah, at that time, I had 3 younger sisters, because my oldest sister, she wasn't with us at the time. She was from a different relationship, my dad's first relationship.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And then it was me, and then my 2 younger sisters, I think at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's what I was doing. I was hanging around with them, and next thing you know, I started smoking weed, and this feel, like I said, the feeling, I was like, oh, now I found drugs to replace that feeling. But like they say, we're always chasing that dragon. I was always chasing that. So my addiction didn't start with substance. It started with sexual pleasure, sexual desire, and to me, like, I didn't understand that. I mean, even like digging and reading into the Bible and all this stuff now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I didn't understand that my other addiction was pornography and all of that at a young age. So, and then on top of it, when I was hanging around with my friends, and they would be like, oh, ew, like they would be like, somebody would make a funny remark about another boy, and they would be like, oh, that's gay. Yeah, we're not gay. Like, and I was like, gay? What does that even mean? Oh, we're boys. We don't like other boys. And I was like, what? But my uncle was doing that to me, like.
How long that been going on? For?
And that'd been going for like a year now, But he was gone, and I think he gone for like 2 months. And like I said, I was searching for that dopamine release, that sexual like it gave me. But I only would try to replace it with marijuana. But it did, like I said, I was chasing that dragon on and on. And then next thing you know, sorry.
I thought we had like a soundtrack.
Did the Lakers score?
I'm a big sports fan. So, and like I said, man, where was I at?
Okay. You were saying you were going after that dopamine.
Yeah. And I was chasing, but all I could find was a Band-Aid, at the time, and I was fine with that. And then next thing you know, I was getting older, 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old. Now I'm seeing more of my dad. And at the time he was in a cricket league. I see my dad, and like his cricket friends would come over, they would party, we would see. And at that time I was like looking, and I was like, oh, they're having fun and stuff like that. Like, and all I can see them was drinking this special bottle, this special can. And,
right.
And then I was like, oh, I wonder. And then we would sneak, like I said, they were getting drunk. We would sneak like their beers or whatever. And we would be drinking, and we were like, oh man, we found it. And actually it's there, we don't have to like go and try to hang out with the older kids to get the marijuana, but the alcohol is actually more easier, it's right at home.
Yeah.
It's right in our home.
So
like they would notice it. That's what we were doing. And at that time I was already, like I said, like I was hiding all of that. And, but at that time, like I still couldn't understand, like, or, I was still confused about my sexual orientation, because I didn't know. Like, I was telling myself, am I gay because it happened to me from my uncle and I liked it?
Right. I understand.
Like, it just, so what I did to replace that was I would try to manipulate any female at that time at a young age to make them like me. So, and even if they gave me like a little bit of like, oh, hey, or even if they bought me like something little and they didn't mean anything other than buying me something, I would take it to the whole different level. Because that was like my mind, like that happening to me, like doing those little things. Like I thought, like, because like where my mind was, I thought that everybody was thinking the same thing. Like just because, because my uncle was like,
I see what you're saying.
Because my uncle was doing this for me.
I understand.
In order to, and then I was thinking like, oh, what's she like? And at a young age, I was telling myself, man, did my uncle tell them? Is that why they're doing that? Did he tell them like, hey, if you do something for him, he'll, and it just messed with my, now I'm like,
I mean,
and that was the thing. And so like, at the age of, and then this is when, you know, when I went into high school, it even got more because now, I'm starting to be around more females and whatnot. And what was the crazy part was at this time, I was in a relationship with the pastor's daughter at this time. And and in our culture, it was like a no, you don't go to church to like find a relationship or anything like that. So like for me, while going through this, well, nobody was knowing, that was like, I can't even find a relationship at church. But what do I know about a relationship? I was like, I was young. You were, young. You were but young. Like, you know, but at the time I didn't understand that. Now I'm looking back on it, like I was like, wow.
Yeah. But I mean, I can't understand considering how long. So when did it stop?
It stopped when
your dad came back, or
when actually when he had the cops had shown up to the house because he was wanted in another state because he had did the same thing to another child.
Oh, okay.
To another person.
Okay.
And was the other child related to him, or was it?
I had no idea.
No idea. He was just gone.
Yeah, I was just, and here's the crazy thing. Like now that I've gone past that and I can talk freely because I feel like being silent doesn't help me or anybody else. It didn't help me back then. So why would it? So if I speak about what's happened to me, especially coming from a male in my culture, it's taboo when it gets, because at my age, at that time, we were taught to, hey, you shut up, you're a child, you don't speak unless you're spoken to, or else you're gonna get beat up, or not beat up, but you're gonna, you know, like go sit down or something like that. You know, that's the generation we grew up in.
Right.
You know?
No, I totally get that, and I think that you have, it takes we would take anybody courage, right, to talk about what you're talking about, and with the awareness of what you're talking about it. I mean, you really have such an astute awareness about, what had happened and how it affected you. And I think that also, I know you're in touch with, obviously, the pain of it, but also know that, I mean, you really were a victim of circumstances. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know you take your responsibility. I can see that while you're talking. I mean, I know you have a sense of, but your dad leaving and your uncle coming in, there was, because I was also molested, right? But worse, well, I won't say worse, but I was groomed, okay? And, I can only imagine with the emotional ties that were suddenly severed with your father, and as you reconnected with this uncle, you were looking for that. You know what I mean? I mean, you were at an age where, you're right, children at that age, all children are narcissistic. That is a stage, that is healthy development. So if they think somebody is giving them up because it's actually for their own good, a child will always think, no, it's because of me. If someone's arguing, it's because of me. So, I mean, as vulnerable as you were, and is looking for that love and care that you deserved, right? And then to be betrayed. That's what I'll shut up with this, but when it happened to me, although it wasn't ever really in any way extreme in a physical sense, right? But emotionally, the betrayal was profound. Because one day I was, I don't know, in my 30s, I was looking at my nephew, around the same age the guy would have been, looking at my nephew who was like 11 or 12, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, wait, would I take him to adult bookstores? Would I watch a porno movie with him? Would I get him drunk? And all of a sudden, what seemed normal to me and an okay relationship, actually a cool relationship, because, all of a sudden, I just had this intense sense of betrayal in that moment. And I looked back on my relationships and I saw the reason I didn't trust, right? So anyways, I just wanted to relate to you that I really appreciate your courage, because I know how difficult that is to talk about, especially in,
Yeah. And I think I owe it to like to those who are going through the same thing, because for me it's like, man, how do you heal from that? How do you like heal from stuff like, and then this is the craziest part, because in my program we have the 12-step program, and I'm telling my sponsor, like what happened, and he told me, well, how about like, don't you think you ever tried like forgiving him? And I'm like, what? How does that make sense? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've fantasized
Yeah.
about killing the person and doing all sorts of stuff. But
Yeah,
I can imagine.
and
I
like,
wouldn't. If he ends up dead, it's not me.
And
Good to know.
yeah, and my sponsor said, because forgiveness is not about him.
Right.
Forgiveness is about you releasing yourself hostage and bondage to the hurt and the pain and August 27th of 2023, 24 years to the date, I was in the front of that house that happened to, and I was able to forgive my uncle, because at that moment, God let me know too, because he let me know that my uncle has his own disease to deal with as well.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, whew. And when I was able to release, and this is coming back, and I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. And this is coming back here to California after 24 years in Alaska,
Right.
dealing with whatever I had going on over there, and there was a lot that went on up there, but and before that, like in the beginning of 2019, I was in jail. I was due to come out, and I had called home, and my mom told me, "Hey, your sister Frida wants you to call her. She stays in Utah." And I said, "Okay, I'll call her." And I called her, and she says, "Hey, bro, I want you, when you get out of jail, what I want you to do is I want you to come out, and I want you to come here to Utah. I want you to go to treatment. I think it's time to like change of scenery, come get you." And I was like, you know what? Why not? I've been 2019 is a long time, to do. And then, that's when I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Cause still in jail, I mean, we still can get drugs and stuff like that. I was still doing drugs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But when my sister told me that was the plan, I was like, you know what? Okay, let me do that. And the time went by, and I hadn't called home for quite some time, and something said call home, and this was around 2 weeks before I was about to get out. 2 weeks before I was about to get out, I was due to get out on March 15th of 2019, and I called home, and my mom and my parents told me that my sister Frida had passed away.
Rest her soul.
She had passed away, and here is me trying to trust the process when the process again fails me. Because I had a plan, doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to go get my life together. I'm trying to go work. I have to deal with that. Like, okay, you know what? F that. I'm just going to go. Like, there's no reason to get clean because nothing works out for me.
Right.
Thank you, God, but I don't want to try that anymore.
Yeah.
So this is how much addiction had a grip on my life. I was getting out. Right when I got out, that same day, my son, at the time, my oldest son at the time, came with my parents. I got out, grabbed my stuff, came out of the jail doors, and I came out, and my homegirl came around, and she saw me. She was like, "Hey, I knew you were getting out, man. I'm picking you up." And I didn't see nobody, and so I jumped inside the car. And this wasn't even, I told them I was going to get out like at 7:30. It was only about 7:26, 7:27. I was like, oh, they're not here. I jumped in the car and left. And I didn't know my mom and them had pulled up like 10 minutes later with my son waiting for me.
Wow.
Broke my heart. That couldn't even. And remember, like, I was to come out, get on a plane, go to Utah and do all of that. But no, my son was there to pick me up with my parents, and I decided to jump in the car with my homegirl and take off because me getting high or getting the next fix was more important to me.
Yeah.
So the homegirl was also someone who was using.
Oh yeah. Because everybody that I hung around with was either doing drugs or they had drugs that I wanted or they had something that I wanted. That was the only people that I hung around with in my addiction. If you had nothing to like give my or help me support my addiction, I had nothing to do. I wanted nothing to do with you or anything like that.
Right.
However I got it, like you were my best friend if you had it. Like that was just my mentality.
So what was your addiction at that point? I mean, like, I know you had mentioned alcohol, marijuana. When did it start to really like?
Honestly, man, what do you got?
Gain traction. Well, I mean, did it like go into being something else primarily? Like
I've tried it. Like I've tried a lot of drugs. The only thing I didn't try was like PCP or what is it, crack. But everything I've tried it, and there's some. But my thing was methamphetamines, cocaine, alcohol, money, women, gambling. It was
all of that.
Like whatever helped me get out of myself or made me feel some type of relief.
I get it.
Let me have it.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit.
Yeah. No. I mean, I get it. I mean, and I get that, you gravitate towards stuff that really gets you out of your head. You know what I mean? But PCP definitely does. But I'm glad you never did it.
Yeah. And like I said, like it damaged, like my child trauma damaged a lot of my relationships that like I always question like, God, why? Why did I have to learn this? Why did I have to heal? Like God says, because it's on my time, not your time.
Right.
God works in mysterious ways.
And like I said, like if I would have went back, like I said that, and I didn't, and I denied my son, and what happened throughout 2019 was the worst year because that's when, here I go again, getting caught in a stolen vehicle. Getting caught with amounts of stolen credit cards, checks, all of that, motor vehicle theft tools. Because in Alaska at that time, I was homeless for like, and
So you were in jail in Alaska.
oh yeah, I spent time in jail in Alaska. I was homeless in Alaska for quite a bit.
And what was that experience like? That going through that in Alaska, a lot of people experience jail homelessness in
Man.
more metropolitan cities like LA or New York, but Alaska might have been completely different, but kind of the same, right?
Oh yeah, it's just you have to deal with that in the cold. The only thing different,
Jesus.
the only different thing there is the weather. That's all that. But it's crazy how much, and even in the coldest weather or the coldest climates, how much addiction will not even. It don't matter how cold it is. You're gonna go.
You're going to go get it, right?
And I was like, man. Now it's like I don't want to go to a meeting because it's raining like really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to a meeting, but I went anywhere or
Anywhere. It
Anything
didn't matter.
for that.
Yep.
it was to the point where I was stealing cars just to like go over on the other side of town to get drugs and at the same time have a place to sleep for the night, at least just for the night, and then runs out of gas, go look for them. That's just how much my addiction was just it had its grip on me, that I was losing myself. But I didn't know how to deal with it. I had, like I said, I had read this this picture quote, and it said sometimes we have to hit our rock bottom in order to know that God was the rock at my bottom. And I was like, wow. And that was the thing. 2019, like I said, 2019. Like I said, so I got out, did drugs, was doing drugs, and cut off my ankle monitor because I got out with the ankle monitor, house arrest. So I had to go to my resident. No less than 2 hours had already cut off my ankle monitor.
Really? So did they come looking for you?
Oh,
right away, or
yeah.
Oh, they were on it?
And it's crazy because in the state of Alaska, when you cut off your ankle monitor, they add on another charge of escape because they consider that an escape because you're supposed to be confined in your residence.
Right.
And I didn't know that, but at the same time, I didn't care because hey,
You want to get it.
you got to catch me before. But it was only a matter of time. It was just a matter of time because I was still trying to do the same thing, hoping for a different result.
Right.
Clear like picture of what insanity looked like. Like I look back at it, I was like, oh man, like how great. But like I said, I had to reach my rock bottom, and that was I went into jail July 17th. They didn't catch me until July 17th of that same year. And
so how many months were you on the run without an ankle monitor?
Oh, it's just from like what to March 15th, 2019, and they caught me on July 17th of
like
2019.
2 months almost.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 months.
Were you crossing over to Russia at the time?
Oh no, no.
The Bering Strait.
No, I figured,
If I could, I would.
would've.
But
No,
but
maybe
still,
not.
like I
probably
wouldn't. I'll probably just like go out to the middle of the ocean and stop there, maybe. But,
Right.
Yeah. And then, like I said, so at that time, I was only looking at 7 charges at this time, and my bail wasn't really that much.
Right.
That was July 17th of 2019. And then I got out because the state of Alaska thought it was a perfect idea to let me back out on house arrest.
On house arrest.
On house arrest again after.
Oh, really? The second time?
Yeah. A couple months
I see.
later.
So how long did you have to sit again after they caught you?
Like 2 months. Another 2 months, and they let me out, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Cool.
I went to a house that, was
Like a halfway kind of deal, or a
it was a friend's house. It was a friend's house. She was helping an elderly man, and she was like, "Hey, you can come stay here. You can just help out here." Okay, cool.
yeah.
But once I got there, all I knew is like, I'm a person that I always wanted people around me. I didn't want to be alone. I always needed people
Yeah.
around me, at all times.
Yeah.
Because that isolation was not for me. So I would
No.
eventually. So all of a sudden, I would have people at the house and all. Next thing you know, that place was shot. So I cut off my ankle monitor and was on the run because I didn't want to go back because I didn't have another address to go to.
What was the elderly guy doing this whole time?
What do you mean it was shot?
Well, I mean, because there were so many people coming over that neighbors were complaining about.
Oh, I see. So you
too
couldn't-
much traffic
okay.
coming through
I got
because that's
Okay.
Oh, so not physically shot.
yeah no like it was burned. The place was burned.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Moved
No,
to
I
the
got
next-
you.
yeah.
I got you. You had to find another place where they weren't shooting at.
Yeah. Had to find another spot, and eventually I did, and but this was not a place where I can. So I was like, cut off the ankle and go again, and then it wasn't until 2 months later again, November 19th, 18th, I got caught. And this time they hit me with those extra charges. And I was looking at, I think it was a $5,000 bail at the time. And so I go back in, and at this time, my history was like, 2 more months, I can do whatever. 2 months, 2 months came up. I think it was like November or February. So February came around, and I'm at this time in jail. I'm a mod worker, so I'm one of the guys who cleans the mods and does all that for like extra trays, or we get change of clothes every day. We get privileges and stuff like that. So Sunday morning comes. Early in the morning for breakfast, I come up, it's like getting breakfast ready, and the CO comes and he said, "Hey, Tali, you got court today." And I was like, "Court today? It's on Sunday, And Sunday courts, you don't want Sunday courts because Sundays you're either going to get arraigned for new charges or you're going to get new charges, pretty much.
Oh, really?
So I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" So at this point, I was like, "Okay, whatever's coming up, like." Everything's gonna be all right. So I go into court, I go before the judge, and the judge is reading off, I think 9 more charges, and one being a impersonation, which is a Class B felony, and it carried nothing less than 10 years. And
Impersonation of what?
I used somebody else's
Like fraud kind of
yeah,
thing.
like fraud and all that, because that was part of my, like I said, anything and everything that I could use to water, pour it out, put some more water and sell it. Like I would just I would burn people. Like that was just me. I didn't care what I did to you, how I did it, as long as I could get it. Like that was just me.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so like it just went on. Like so they hit me with all the new charges, and then now my charges now I'm not looking. Now I'm looking at nothing less than 20 years, and I'm like, and my bail is, I think my bail at this time now went from 5,000 up to 100 grand at this time. So I was like, oh yeah, there's no getting out. From my walk from the courthouse, the jail courthouse to my bunk, I was like, you know what, God, like I don't know what to do. All I know is I got to come back to you. Like, I don't know what else to do. I go back to my mod, and everybody's like, oh man, what happened? I was like, everything's all right. Everything's cool. I go to sleep that night, and when I'm sleeping, I have a dream. I'm in this dream, and in this dream, I'm sitting at a campfire and at the campfire, I'm fixing my hooks, right? Because in Alaska, you ask me what I do. Fishing in Alaska that's what we do, man. We go out there fishing.
Do you see grizzly bears out there?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. You see grizzly bear, moose, caribou, things like that when you're out there in the woods. So it's by nature that you carry a firearm, or
of course, yeah. No, if there's a grizzly bear, I'm gonna.
I'm sitting around this fire, and I'm fixing my hook, and out of nowhere, all I see is a light walking towards me, and I see a silhouette of somebody just walking towards me. And as this this light is walking towards me. It's getting brighter and brighter, and as it's getting closer and closer, and it's getting brighter and brighter. I'm like lowering my head, because it was so bright I couldn't even raise my head to like look at. All I could hear was this voice telling me, "Who are you to tell yourself that you have time?" Because in my mind, because my heart or my mind is like, God, what do I do? But in my heart, it was like,
I'll have time. I can figure it out.
in 2 months, I'll figure it out again.
In 2 months, I'll figure it out again.
Yeah, because this always happens for me.
Right.
I got time.
Right.
But in this dream, I hear this. Who are you to tell yourself that you are the keeper of time?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Who told you have time?
It's crazy.
Right.
And boom, I woke up. And when I woke up, my clothes were so wet that it felt like I was sweating, like I was sitting next to that fire.
Wow.
And the crazy part was when I got up, and it felt like somebody like took a bucket of water and poured it on me. And what happened was I went to the CEO. I was like, "Hey, I need a change of clothes." And he was looking at me, he was like, "What happened?" Because it looked like somebody literally took a. And he thought that somebody was waterboarding me. Like waterboarding me.
Right.
So they cut on the lights. The extra COs came in to check. And the crazy part, when they went to go check the bed, here's the crazy part. When they went to check the bed, there was no puddle of water or nothing. The only part that was wet was the outline of my body. That was the only part that was wet.
Wow. Gosh, that's amazing.
Man, I got chilled. Tell that story. And so he gave me my my change of clothes.
Right.
I went to go take a shower, and I was still trying to figure out, like, man, what was that dream all about? And I got dressed, and when I got dressed, I went back to my bunk at that time, and I looked at my Bible, and I opened it up. And when I opened it up, it had it fell to Deuteronomy 30:19.
Are we gonna read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 30:19.
30:19.
And this is my recovery verse. This is what I call my recovery verse, because this day I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live.
It's interesting. It
All
sounds
this
like
time-
sounds like an ultimatum, right?
Yeah, it's like, bro, what are you choosing?
Yeah. What are you doing?
What are you choosing? Somebody once told me, life is choice driven. Life is choice driven. When you wake up, you make a choice. Do I get up? Do I wash my teeth? Do I brush my face? Do I do this? Do I do that? When you go to sleep, you're gonna make a choice. Or you're gonna just go to sleep, or you're gonna say a prayer. Or you're gonna do routine. Life is choice driven. Oh, am I gonna wear these shoes? Am I gonna do? Everything is choice driven. And I was like, so this whole time I've been in my addiction, I've been choosing death the whole time, slowly, and I didn't even know it.
Right. You didn't know.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah, of course not.
Because the devil was lying and telling me, you have time. It's okay, Kennedy. You have time.
That's right.
In 2 months, you'll figure it out, buddy, you'll figure it out. Remember, this always happens. It's all right. It's okay.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And at that time, I was like, you know what? Okay. So what I did was I started a Bible study. And we started doing this Bible study. It started with 2 people. And at this time, this was when it was going into 2020, at the beginning of 2020. And then, like, boom, Kobe Bryant passes away. And Kobe Bryant is my guy. Kobe Bryant's my guy. Like,
oh, wow.
Because Kobe Bryant, like, I'm a stickler for.
We didn't put that there for you.
I'm a stickler for,
But
it's there for a reason, because, there are things that I take from people that inspire me. And you know, Kobe said it best, like, the greatest success you can have in life is to inspire somebody.
Right.
You know,
Right. Exactly.
to inspire somebody to do something better
Yeah.
for themselves. So, like, to go back, you know, doing Bible study, and COVID had just hit too at the time, so nothing was moving.
Right.
Nothing was moving. Courts weren't moving. Everything was shut down. No, we had no visitations during
Right.
COVID. So I needed something to like help me stay like in faith that something's gonna happen.
Right.
And
Like, I had to trust the process.
And I don't know if we mentioned this, but were you using while in prison?
At the beginning, I was, but then after I had read it, I was like,
After the dream, after all of
after
that?
the dream, after the verse, I was like, oh, what am I doing?
Really?
Choose life.
So that was a really
Turning point.
Oh yeah, that was
the turning point. And then ever since that turning point, because I know you know, considering your background and all the trauma, where did you go from that turning point in terms of dealing with what happened so you could get to that place of forgiveness? Because that's really, as you said, like how I don't know if I could ever really forgive, but I don't know if I've ever really even totally considered it. You know what I mean? But I'd be interested to hear how you got from, you know, that Bible verse to forgiving your uncle, because that's really.
and what's crazy is it took a while, because remember, this was somewhere around February, I want to say 12th, around there, approximately. And from that time till August 27th, 2023, when I really forgave like, I didn't know that that's what I had to deal with. I didn't know that was like it. Me, I thought it was
that
like,
was underneath. How did you discover that that's what it was?
So this was after 3 years. After 3 years of being clean and sober.
Clean,
Because
yeah.
remember, I went from jail to treatment after 8 months from the time that I got this verse to the time I got out to treatment was like about 7-8 months at the time, because I got out in September 30th of 2020 to go to treatment. And that was the only way that I was going to get out.
If you went to go to
if I
treatment.
went from
Right,
there to there.
So, so the dream happens, you know, that whole, you know, the turning point happens,
And now I'm doing Bible study.
and you're doing Bible study now. But before that, a day before that dream, you know, you were using.
Oh yeah.
So how did that, you know, where did the withdrawals go? How did that whole process of, you know, kicking off of whatever was, and what was it that you were using in jail?
Yeah, I was using Suboxone, marijuana, methamphetamines, whatever we could do, drinking, like, whatever you could think of. Yeah.
So how did that addiction die? Did it die like, you know?
Oh yeah. So from that day, so November 19th was like, my first, like, you know, I'm not gonna, like, this is it. Like, I got to do something different, because that, like I said, like, dang, 20 years, that much, what? Who's gonna help me? Like I said, I was crying, but I didn't even know, like, I was crying to God. All I know is, like, man, please, God, if you're out there, really help me like this. And like I said, I literally cried myself to sleep.
And that's the night that you had the dream.
Boom, had the dream. And then,
So that Sunday was November 19, right?
no. Sorry. That Sunday was in February. That
Sunday was in February.
Yeah,
November 19 was when they
they caught me. Yep. They caught me. And
okay.
Yep.
So within those, you know, 2 months, you're
Oh
kind
yeah.
of going back.
I was
and forth
losing.
again.
Yeah, I was using.
Okay.
Yeah, between that And like I said, and then when that court date came up, and that's when I was like, oh no.
Right.
No, like
Yeah. It was bad.
one day away, like, and I was like, oh no. And like I said, from the court to my cell,
That.
I was like, whew,
Yeah.
it finally hit. But at the same time, I was trying to hold my composure because I'm in jail.
Yeah.
I can't be crying around, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
it was like, hey, I got to go shower and
Yeah.
just let it all. And I was like, man.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Like I said, and then came to it and then just went to
So the dream, that experience with, I would say with God, killed the addiction that same night.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's powerful.
It was, and like I said, because that dream, like, what blew my mind was, it was so much, like, how could it just be my body? That's what blew my mind.
There was a lot of unusual things about that. I mean,
and because the CEO was like, hey, man, like, somebody, like, wait, what did they do to, and they looked at it, they were like, wait.
and for you to be totally like transformed in that moment, like there was
Yeah,
no
my
going back. There was that which was no longer was. Something totally new began
Yeah.
at that moment.
Yeah.
So how is that taken you where you are today? Like how did you end up forgiving your uncle? Were you working with a sponsor?
Yeah.
Yeah, going through the
And I was
steps.
going through the steps and whatnot. And
Yeah.
and that's like the crazy part, you know?
And how did you get the opportunity to cut your sentence short? Because they said, they gave you 20 years, but you left.
So I went to treatment. And like I said, so man, the story goes a lot deeper. Like, so man, like I said, I started Bible study, 7 months. It went from 2 people to like 23, 24. We were going back. And within that 7 months, I saw people get out, come back in. Get out, come back in. Get out, come back in. 7 months. I was like, watch. And then I was like, God, like, why can't I get out? Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I see like these people, and I'm doing like what I have to do, like,
Right.
and for some reason, I'm always reminded to be patient. Like, you trust me before, like, trust me all the way through.
Right.
Don't just when things get harder, like, oh, stop. Like,
Right.
oh, no, okay, now we're going to,
That's the easy part.
like, like, keep the faith, like, and then I was like, okay. And I kept going, and everybody was kept going. And at the same and at that same point, a lot of people were telling me like, "Hey, man, maybe you should go to treatment." Now I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to go to treatment. I'm not an addict.
Right.
I can stop when I stopped the last 7 months. I stopped.
Right. Right.
And but
But
I
that
just
wasn't
let it
you
go.
stopping. That was God, killing that addiction within you.
yeah, and honestly, like, I didn't even ask God. Like, in my mind, like, I already made it up. Like, I don't need that, blah, 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 blah. So I was going on, going with, talking to God, and doing stuff like that. So when a couple months later, it kept going, and somebody else, like, nothing changed. And I was like, man. So I went to church we went to church that night, and the guy that was preaching, he said, in order to have a different outcome, you have to have a different mindset. Your mentality will always become your reality. If you think negative things, how do you expect positive things to come out of that negative mindset?
Right.
But if you think more positive, you're going to get more opportunities. So I was like, okay, maybe I should try treatment, but we'll see. That same night, somebody asked me, hey, why don't you try treatment? Why not? What could it hurt? But at this time, treatment like I said, it was going through COVID. So you had to go through a lot of like COVID tests.
right.
The facilities had to see if they had a room 6 feet apart and all that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's going to take time anyway. So people were like taking 2-3 months to get out. So I was like, okay, I'll fill out application and whatnot. Man, it took about 3 weeks for me to get approved or do an assessment, get approved by the place, go through a bail review. So this is another thing, a bail review to let the judge know and the courts know that, hey, I found a place that's going to receive me for treatment. Now I'm going to go to treatment. But what they didn't know was I still got, like, hey, he still got this big amount of bail, like, and he still got he cut off his ankle monitor 2-3 different other times.
Right.
How are we going to keep, I don't think treatment's going to, and I'll never forget the name of this judge. His name is Judge Andrew Peterson. And luckily he was a big person to advocate for people going into treatment.
Oh, good. Yeah,
and
good.
He lowered my bail down to, it was a $11,000 unsecured. So that means I didn't have to pay for anything. They were just going to release me. On top of that, he was going to put me on ankle monitor, house arrest for a fourth time.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And the DA was like, no, we can't. But through the grace of God and through like the compassion of this judge, he believed in treatment, helping somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So he let me go to treatment.
And that cut off, the years that you had to.
So here's the thing. So I still was looking at that. But in jail, we would always tell each other, it's always better to fight your case from the outside. Because what you do with your freedom is going to tell the courts like
who you are,
how you value your freedom. What are you doing?
Yeah.
With your freedom.
Exactly.
So I got out, went to treatment, and I did.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I went into like I said, I went into treatment at this time, like I said, I don't last the last 3-4 times. I don't last more than 2 hours before I'm cutting off my ankle monitor and leaving.
You did it again?
So check this out. I go to this treatment facility. I go to this treatment facility. And I meet this. I call her my recovery mother, Amy, and so she picks me up from jail, jumps in, and she's like telling me like, hey, what do you hope to get out of this? What are you willing to do? Oh, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I just want to she tells me, man, I hear a lot of people tell me that, but coming out of jail, you guys just that jail talk. And I was like, no, I think I really have to do this. She was like, well, okay. So we go into talking, and as we're pulling up to the facility, there's a gate. She was like, well, I just have a couple of rules, just don't get loaded and don't jump that fence, because we've had a lot of people jump that fence and leave. Because if you jump that fence, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna kick your ass.
Right.
And that's and I always remember that. And and I spent time in this treatment facility. And during this time, it was an 8-month it was an 8-month program. And in that program, when you pass a certain phase, you get to work in either maintenance or janitorial, or you get to work in the kitchen.
Okay.
So naturally, as a Polynesian who loves food, I'll be like, man, I'm gonna get extra food working in the things and cook certain things like that. So I work in the kitchen. And fast forward to Christmas, we're in charge of doing this Christmas dinner, this big Christmas feast. So we all agreed that it was going to be a Chinese, like a Chinese feast.
Oh, okay.
But we also had the main dish was going to be this oxtail soup.
Okay.
And
sounds good right now.
Oxtail soup, and I was like, okay, that was it. So the cook at the time, you had our head cook, and then it was me and another gentleman. So he woke us up, and we started cooking this oxtail soup from like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, because we had to slow cook it for like 15 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, man, that's a long time, but we slow cooked it. And I was literally like cooking everything else. And at this time, I was just sitting there like listening to music and just like looking at magazines and watching the thing cook, and then like doing different things. And when it came time to eat, everybody sat down to eat and everything like that. They grabbed a couple of people grabbed the oxtail soup, and after they sat down and ate, they said, "Man, the oxtail soup was the best soup or any like if they ever had oxtail soup, like that's how they would want their oxtail soup. And I was like,
It was
man,
really good oxtail soup, basically.
really good. And I was like, they said it was savory, like the juices, all of that was
Okay,
just.
come on, man. I'm getting
So-
hungry here.
So good, huh?
I didn't know what that was, but at the same time, it made me feel good because everybody enjoyed a
Right.
meal and we're with family at a very like, that's one of our main holidays, right? It's
Yeah.
Christmas,
Of course, yeah.
together and all of it. So
And nobody's had oxtail soup for Christmas. I
Yeah.
can't of
I think I
anybody.
might this year. After
And-
that.
going back to the time that I was in jail, when I was complaining to God, like, man, everybody else is getting out. Why not me? Why do I have to why do I have to still be in here? It reminded me of that soup where God was telling me, like, wait just a little bit more. I got to let you simmer down just a little bit more. Just so when you're ready to come out, all of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of what I got, the love that I've got for you, I want you to pour out into other people.
All the flavor, all the
All the
juices.
flavor, all the juice, because you can't rush other people. People are gonna walk their own journey, and I didn't grab a hold of this at that time. So then that's what got me into like, go even further. Okay, God, this is what I'm gonna do. But what I didn't hang on to was, hey, get yourself a sponsor, do the steps, and go to meetings. So when I got out of treatment after that, I didn't do none of that. What I did was I did go to school. I applied for my associate's degree in business administration. I was also working for a mass shelter, a mass homeless shelter in Anchorage at the time.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing, and I was still on house arrest at this time. The longest I've been on house arrest, like, without cutting it off, and I just kept going. And this is what I was doing. Later on, as I was going, a year goes by, and I was moving up in my position. I went from just one guy, or just I was just making sure everybody was okay,
Right.
to
Right.
passing out food and all of that, and all of those things. And then it was overseeing a shift. And then from there, it was going into management, outreach, and all those things.
Right. Right.
And then going into the second year, I was still in school doing all those things. I was still doing church at the time, but I wasn't feeling like I wasn't doing anything more. Like, yes, I was working. Yes, I was going to school, but I wasn't doing anything more to like feel like I was helping people find their purpose. Find their purpose. So I stumbled on this video of the faux movement on YouTube, where it's a group of Samoan, Polynesian, Asian Pacific Islander brothers who grew up in the worst parts of Southern California, in the cities of Compton, Long Beach, Carson, Orange County, San Diego, the Inland Empire, and stuff like that, who grew up in different gangs where they used to shoot at each other, but they've spent so much time behind bars where they also found God. And what happened was they started a devotional on a simple like a Signal, like one of those texting apps. Everybody got on there.
I got you.
And it started off from there.
Okay.
From there, that devotional, which they started the faux movement.
Oh, nice.
And the faux movement has 3 different departments, which is the recovery, reentry, and youth outreach. And that's where I found these guys on YouTube. And I was like, hey, let me join this. That's where I found these guys, where they came from the same background I came from.
Right.
And they were doing something for their community. So I found out, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And this is when I joined their movement in May of 2023. Little did I know that I was going to need these guys more than I know. Because this is May of 2023. Rewind backwards. 3 years, June 6th of 2022, my best friend, who also happens to be my brother-in-law, passed away. You know, one of my best friends. And I'm telling you, this guy actually broke my jaw in 4 places because he saw what addiction was doing to me. He just wanted to get, but no words or anything like that. He literally had to physically, and I don't blame him for that because he literally, and that helped me, you know. So, he passed away.
Rest his soul.
Fast forward that same year, July 23rd of 2022, my grandma passed away. My grandma has been my my biggest supporter. You know, when my mom wasn't there, always worrying about my dad, like trying to figure, you know, they were going through their issues. My grandma was always there for me. You know, she passed away, and I thought that I felt the worst pain ever until God decided a week later that it was time to call his son home, and my 17-year-old son passed away a week later on July 30th of 2022.
What happened? Why?
So my son is autistic. He did have complications with seizures, and unfortunately, he had a seizure in his sleep, and he didn't wake up.
Right.
You know?
Okay. All right. Okay.
And
I'm sorry.
And before, man, and before, like, this is the time that I used to break down. Like, I used to be like, yeah, my son. But I find so much peace in knowing that I can't get mad at God for taking back what's rightfully his. You know?
Right.
And my ex-wife said it the best. You know, the absence of our son is a painful reminder that our children don't belong to us. Our children belong to God. And what the crazy part
It
is,
is a painful reminder, isn't it?
It's always knowing, and like when I lost my son, I was always like, man, why, like, God, why, like, why my son? My son didn't do nothing wrong. There's addicts out there that are like doing worse things.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
And like I said, like, my son's journey is not there, but it took me time to learn that. A lot of healing, a lot of time. But like I said, I wouldn't change anything that's happened to me because I went through exactly what was already written.
Yeah, I mean, even when you were describing how, like, you know, you felt like you were doing all this stuff, this really extreme kind of stuff. The more extreme, the better, right? To take you further and further and further, just you know, this constant movement running. And then all of a sudden you had that moment where you heard, what makes you think you're the keeper of time? Was that what it was?
What makes you think you're
You're the keeper of time. If it wasn't for all those experiences where you look back and you realize how much time you had taken, that moment of hearing that, I don't think would have had its impact. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of a sudden, it's like you woke up to your whole life in that moment. It seems like, and from that moment on, all of your actions completely changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's like inexplainable. That's not like what you were saying. I can wait like 9 more, weeks and I'll do some anger management classes and I'll be good. You had an immediate everything changed in an instant. I think that's how change happens, especially in recovery. You know, I mean, if the people I work with, if they're addicted today, they will be addicted tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because when it ends, and there's no tomorrow in that. You know what I'm saying? So that statement to me was really, really on point. You know what I mean? I mean, that statement, I could feel how that, you know, really went into you and how that really put everything in perspective, it seems.
Yeah, because when I first got clean and sober, I started to try to understand. Okay, what is autism? And when I saw what it was, and like just reading up on it, it broke my heart. Like to really sit there and think like how me as a father could could just abandon my duties like that. You know, and there's no excuse for it, you know, whether it be because I didn't know how to deal with my trauma or anything like that, but there was a lot of pain in the things that I put my ex-wife through, especially too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for it, but that's just how it went down, didn't it? That's just how it went down. And that was part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I hope you don't beat yourself up over any of that stuff. I mean,
and it's crazy too, because, and like I said, like just to go back to when my son passed away, grief really didn't hit me, because what I was thinking was, okay, I actually got to be there for my ex-wife and my 2 other children. That's who I got to be there for first. So I put my grieving process on the back burner, and it didn't hit me until a year later. And like I said, a year later, May 2023, that's when I joined this full movement organization. So May 2023, that's what happened. July 30th of 2023 at 5:41 a.m. I already relapsed because I couldn't deal with the grief. That's why, because I didn't have no program. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions, my grief. I couldn't call a sponsor. Didn't have one. Couldn't go to a meeting. Didn't know where they were. Didn't know how to get none of that stuff. So not knowing how to deal with my grief just took me right back. It finally hit me like, holy crap, my son's not here. Boom. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Like, it takes me back to like, holy smokes.
right.
So first time in treatment taught me like, okay, drugs this, drugs that. But I didn't know how to like, hey, why are you using drugs, or where's that coming from? Like me, I wasn't paying attention to that. All I was paying attention to the drugs. When I relapsed, I was sent my adopted mom said, hey, we're gonna get you out to treatment. You know, because now when I relapsed, nobody knew, but they saw. I dropped 20 pounds in less than 2 weeks. I was already getting sucked up, and everybody was looking. At this time, I was on the page of the Anchorage Daily News, housing homeless people. I was housing homeless people that nobody could house, and all of those things. Like, I was doing these great things and all of that, but I was using that to like, okay, I'm gonna use that to like
Cover up
my mask, the grieving and all of that. But I couldn't deal with that. But everybody else saw it, but nobody really wanted to tell me, because they knew, like, especially my girlfriend at the time, and who was my boss and all of that. They were like, you got to tell them. And then my adopted mom had to tell me like, hey, what's going on? Like, I had to tell her like, hey, I relapsed. So what are you gonna do about it? Oh, I might maybe go to treatment. And she's like, oh, okay, we're gonna send you out of state. I was like, what? So sent me out to Simi Valley, California, and whole new scenery and everything like that, and which brought me much closer to the organization. And then I'm going to treat, and then All In Solutions out in Simi Valley, I go there for my IOP, and like I said, that's where I found my healing, my spot from the admissions team to the sober coaches at the sober living houses, to the caseworkers, to my counselor. all of them helped me heal.
Wow.
October 2nd came around and my son's birthday came around and my counselor bought balloons and all the clients helped me release balloons on my son's birthday. And it was helping me. It was bringing me,
Yeah.
more and more closer to letting go, because remember August 27th, I let that go and I did all of that. And I found a sponsor because, like I said, I was going to do what I didn't do last time, because I came into treatment and they always ask you, okay, what are you going to do different this time? I'm going to get a sponsor. I'm going to do all of those things. And those things and the Faux Movement, who is a faith-based organization, God and my program combined, you can't go wrong with that. I don't look at anybody, or I don't judge anybody on how they run their program, whether they need a higher power, whether they need God or the program, the steps or not. As long as you're sober or not, good for you. But I choose to call God my God. There's only one God. I've known of one God,
Right.
And I'm only sitting here today, because God has always been there through the ups and the downs, through everything. And like you said,
it's interesting that you say the ups and the downs, because in hearing you tell your story, you're very, very precise on dates and times. I think you said 5:41, not 5:40.
Yeah.
The same as your flight, right? The same as your flight. Flight 541.
Was it? Okay.
Right.
All right. So I'm just saying that these moments obviously they were turning points for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you remembered them. You remembered the date. You remember,
And another crazy
God
thing,
speaks through numbers a lot of the time.
and the numbers go even deeper. So it was like, July 30th, 2024 of this year, at 5:41, I'm hitting 241 days,
of being clean.
Yeah, of being clean and sober.
Wow, that's amazing.
At two, and it's even like at 2:41. So 5:41, that was my flight. That was the and the and all of those, and then 2:41 a.m. on July 30th,
was
2024. I'm 241 days clean
240.
at 2:41 a.m.
Wow.
on July 30th, 2024.
Wow.
And those numbers just and that's it. And here's the thing. My clean date is 8/24/23. 24, like I said, Kobe Bryant is my favorite player. Michael Jordan's right after him. 8/24, you got Kobe Bryant. 23 is Michael Jordan. And it all ties it, because I'm a sport guy. And here's the thing and this is how I tie sports. Because me, like a sponsor, I was like, why do I need a sponsor? Like, don't I call that a mentor? But a mentor and sponsor are two totally different. A sponsor will walk you through the steps and all of that and those things. And I really didn't understand what that relationship was like.
Yeah.
Until I was sitting there watching a boxing match. Watching a boxing match, and I would see first round would go, and the fighter would come back. And then, hey, yeah, show the cornerman. They would like show both cornermans talking. And then they would go in, blah, blah. Then second round would end, and they would come back. 12 rounds of this. And I was like, holy smokes. Now I understand. And just because 12 rounds to me, I was like, oh, 12 rounds, 12 steps. Whenever I'm going through the 12 steps, my sponsor can see, because he's hearing, but he's seeing and he's hearing with his spiritual ears, his spiritual eyes. He's seeing like, hey, I know this guy because he tells me everything that he's going through. Look what he's going through. Like, I know, because sometimes we got to come and take a time out in our lives to rejuvenate ourselves.
Right.
And sometimes we got to go talk to our people, our support system, our tribe.
People
There
are
got to be
important.
there's got to be a people that you can call at a time. And he would come back and his cornerman would tell him, "Hey, bro, you got to duck when he throws this punch. You got to do this because you're not. Every time you hit him on his body, like he's wincing. So yeah, because sometimes we're so consumed by the fight that we're forgetting the plan. We lose sight of the plan, like
Right.
because we're getting frustrated, like we're not getting it here. Because as an addict, I want it right now.
Right.
Give it to me right now.
Right.
So I'm just gonna go, and I'm just gonna tire myself out.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah. You get tired.
and like I said, like I relate everything to my recovery, and like what is God trying to show me through whatever I'm going through? You know, like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And even with things with like when I'm going through different emotions and different feelings, I always ask God, okay, why am I going through this? When I used to be like, man, I never used to do that. You know, talking to my therapist has helped me tremendously to like, she always asked me, and I was like, be angry, like, do you ever stop to think about what you're thinking about? Which goes back to your mentality is always your reality. Mm-hmm. What am I thinking about? Am I thinking about like, oh, I can't do it? Well, okay, yeah, of course, you're right. You can't do it,
Right.
because you think you can't do it.
Right.
But if I tell myself like, man, it's going to be hard, but I know it's going to be worth. Like I said, like I always don't think more of the destination anymore, because the destination ain't going nowhere.
There you go.
What we go through is always going to change.
Right.
But we definitely got to go through it. And it always reminds me of the Bible, of the story in the Bible where, you know, the Jews at the time couldn't go through Samaria.
Right.
You know, back in the day, because, you know, they were at they just didn't agree or whatnot, and so they would always, you know, their journey would they would always prolong the journey by going around. You know, they didn't want to go and deal with you know what was going on and whatnot. But I think in order for us to actually get to our destination better than how we started our journey, like how do we enjoy what's at the because all we're doing is when we prolong the journey, we're tiring ourselves. And this is what I was doing my whole life, right?
Oh,
this is what I was doing my whole life.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's what I was doing my whole life. I don't want to go through some area of my life that I got to go through in order to like.
But do you think? I mean, do you think in a way you had to go through that area for it to be the way it is now?
To be the way it is now, but what I was doing was I wanted to do my own little thing.
Right.
What I was doing was I felt like a person in a wilderness, because it was like, God, why am I? And look how many years, 25 plus years.
Right.
I was doing this
in
the wilderness because God knew your heart's not ready.
So it's when you surrender, or when that moment happened, that you just kind of started, you know, no longer trying to, like, as you said, do it your way, but you're being moved as opposed to moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what it sounds like to me, that now you're being taken along. You know, I don't know. I mean, taken along, and that's how I'm interpreting it, that you're no longer like calling the shots like you were with your life before. Now you've things have changed, your actions have changed, but not because of maybe because of your doing, but it sounds like it was something that happened that made everything different for you, and out of that came new action. In sobriety. In sobriety, it happens right in the moment. You can hit rock bottom, like you said, and that rock may be God, right? Or that is God. But that when you hit it, everything changes. It's like there's a lot of people I know in recovery who oh, I'm going to get sober tomorrow. I'm going to just have one good party and this week. It never happens. That tomorrow never comes. You know what I mean? It's when they don't make the decision makes them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's when things change. You know, as a counselor, all we are is cheerleaders up until then. But they have to do it. I mean, or it happens to them in some way.
Right.
You know.
So just to, we had a wonderful dive into your story and you shared a lot of great things.
Courage, and I appreciate that.
But to wrap it up, we started as of right now to do this new thing where we wrap it up by asking everybody the same question, and that question is, if there was an individual right now standing in front of you who was struggling with many of the things that you've struggled with, such as, sexual abuse by a family member, dealing with, the court system, being homeless, having to deal with all the evil that comes with drugs, what is something that you would say to them in less than 5 words for them to make that decision to change once and for all? As short as you can say it.
Me is speak up, seek help, and don't give up.
Don't.
All right.
Yeah, because people can't help you if they don't know. Like, I feel bad now looking back on it, and I've told like my family that I robbed you guys of the chance to, help me. I robbed you guys of that opportunity to help me by staying silent, and look how much it's caused. But I also am grateful that through this, God has definitely changed my pain into a purpose for somebody else. For somebody else.
Amen. Sir, thank you, Kennedy. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was really a pleasure. And